someone going up to the cab.
It looks like it's Bobert. The first person to go from pool 2.
And there might be someone about to hand us a song draw. But otherwise, we'll see what he picks in a second.
Ooh. Now we're seeing a couple 16s. We got Adularia the 13, followed, well, not followed by, but the other stars that are in the draw are In the Past, the 16, and tokyoEVOLVED Type 2, the 16, and not the difficult like we saw from the first draw.
I think we can put forth a guess that players will probably want to play the 13 first.
Yeah, especially to try to get used to the machine, get used to the sync, you know, use the easier one of the two to try to lock in.
Yeah, Adularia is a 180 BPM song, but with a lot of rests and pauses. So it doesn't feel tiring like a 180 BPM song. It sometimes can be tricky to time because of like 16th note triplets after a rest and stuff like that.
Yeah. We are getting some information that at least from round 1 that Blue Buster has dropped from doubles. Maybe, and then Messier is currently playing singles, so we'll wrap back when he's done with that, but we're moving on to round 2 for now. And like we mentioned, Bobert is planning to start off with Adularia, you know, putting in his stretches.
Want to do that before Tokyo 2.
Or even In the Past. I know In the Past is it's a pretty dense chart. You know.
Yeah, it's an interesting, the single chart is like broken 16th patterns the whole way, a surprisingly accessible 16, but yeah, the sheer density of it will get a lot when you have to move back and forth.
If I recall correctly, the double actually does play the same way. The rhythms are the same, and it's just the single chart on 2 pads, for In the Past anyways.
Sort of a saving grace there is that the first half of it is quite slow.
Yeah. Starting off with Adularia.
So we're reading 180 BPM at 3.25. So even a double player reading all the way up at 585 and timing very well. A little bit of triple stepping around on some of those ordinary crossovers on 1 pad. So slightly different style from the players we've seen before.
And Bobert having no issue here, like he is seeing everything so far, almost at 100 combo. Not seems to be struggling at all. Definitely using the 13 warm-up definitely to his advantage. Starting off super strong.
Yeah, keeping it very clean, nice little run across the pads there. One of those 6-note patterns we alluded to that we'll see all day.
It's very interesting to see which crossover he chooses to double step and which ones he actually chooses to execute. As you can probably tell that he's actually bouncing between the two based on whatever he probably finds more comfortable in the moment.
Yeah, those runs across the pads, ooh, there's the first grade, but this is still an extremely clean run so far.
Yeah.
Those runs that go all the way across the pads, you almost always have to cross over because a double step just leaves you kind of unable to reach the next step.
Yeah.
But on something that could have been an ordinary single pattern, people will more likely just double step it for the same reason they might single, especially if it's 8th notes.
Exactly. And a super strong, full combo. I think that was only been 1 great.
1 great, yeah. That was the most impressive song play we've seen today.
Yeah, super strong showing. Like this is only round 2. Oh,
okay. There were some greats that crept in once it turned green.
Yeah.
But still, that score is about minus 60 or so.
Yeah. Didn't seem to struggle too much with hitting the arrows, but you know, going from a 13 to a 16, that could be a pretty sizable jump. So we'll see if Bobert will be able to handle it.
Yeah, let's see which one he goes for a second, because Tokyo's intimidating, but as you pointed out, In the Past, almost certainly he's going to have more notes.
Yeah. Like we mentioned earlier, Paris gets the pick, and it does look like he might be leaning towards In the Past. Oh! Never mind. Had a change of heart.
He realized the same thing at the last minute. It's 2-2, yeah, okay. He can't decide.
and decides to go with In the Past. You know, even though the chart is pretty more note dense, you know, it doesn't really have gimmicks. It just has the first slowdown at the beginning, which is more or less meaningless in terms of, or less impactful than the rest of the chart.
Yeah, there's a little slowdown at the start, and then long sections of broken eighth notes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the whole second half of the song is continuous, syncopated 16th note patterns,
Yeah.
kind of gallopy patterns or 4-note 16th runs.
Exactly.
It's very musical, it's very cool,
Yep.
and it's a good point that the same patterns will be much higher energy in double than they are in single.
Oh, Bobert's tying his shoe right before the song starts.
A classic blunder. Nope, he's
But
good.
he's good. There's plenty of time. Like we mentioned, the song starts slow.
But MA on the half speed right out of the gate with no problems. That
Yep.
can sometimes trip you up.
Yeah, Bobert's definitely familiar with the chart.
Does all the crossovers in the opening slowdown.
Gets the speed up, no problem. Yeah, he definitely seems to be playing this really, really well so far. Like just as easily as he played Adularia earlier. And, yeah, like you mentioned, it's a three difficulty jump. Does pick up his first grade though.
And this song is actually the first half a little harder than I remembered. It has more gallopy syncopated patterns even in the first half. Handles them just fine, including the first half measure stream. Finds his timing locked right back in once he has a little break on a section of quarter notes. All marvelous.
Yeah, still hitting every note, hasn't dropped a single one. But the chart is about to pick up.
Basically just flowing back and forth across the pads with every repetition of the pattern. Now adding crossovers to the mix.
Yeah, he's having no trouble with any of these syncopated 16ths. Even doing the crossover as needed.
Yeah, I've seen, this chart looks like he's done all of the patterns as intended.
Yeah, he needs to breeze right through that, no issues. And most likely going to end with another full combo. Wow, super strong showing.
First 16 of the day. Good time to eat good. Yeah, first 16 of the day, and he absolutely wrecked that.
Only ends with 6 grades and a good, which, you know, even compared to the 13 with only 5 grades, so it's like, even jumping up 6 difficulties, it didn't seem to affect him at all. This is going to be the interesting one, where he's playing the 16, will he actually know the gimmicks and the chart knowledge to be able to execute this one as well as he did the past 2 songs.
Yeah, I don't know it well, but Tokyo is also one of those songs that has been around long enough that you guess that people who have spent a lot of time in the 16s and up folders will have just practiced it enough to not be tripped up by it. Again, it's a very different tempo, those 280 BPM eighth notes for most of the song. Another song starting with a slowdown, letting him just get his visual timing set up. A few grades going into the slowdown, a few perfects, but then settles right in.
He is always knowledgeable about the early stops in the song. But again, same as before, not really struggling with any of it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely shouldn't understate that he has been absolutely just stepping on and doing double 16s with no problem. It is very impressive.
Yeah, he even knew about the up arrow for that speed up right there.
That's one of those little things that can be a really good habit to just try to check on your phone real quick before a tournament round.
Yeah.
Like, don't get an unnecessary miss, just check what note it is after any rocket freeze.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, Bobert having, again, no issues. He definitely has the chart knowledge in the bag. So it's going to just come down to, like, can he finish strong? And he's definitely holding on to the super strong MA. Still hasn't dropped a note.
Yeah, I mean, most of these stops, not only knowing them and hitting them, but not being flustered at all and keeping his beat through them and getting a marvelous coming out of the stock.
Yeah, he even executed all the crossovers in that section. I know we mentioned earlier that, you know, people, if they see a singles pattern, they might double step, but no, he crossovered everything and ended with a full great combo.
So yeah, no misses from him in the set. That is going to be a tough act to follow.
Yep. Yeah, he's got 3 more players in that pool to see if, you know, they can even match the scores that he got.
So let's see. So for comparison, Bobert's score on Adularia 13 was 1142.
Yeah.
So we can remember that as the score to beat.
Bobert had a super strong showing because he full comboed his entire set.
Yeah, we got the impression that those were 3 very strong scores, so this could be an interesting pool.
Yeah. Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, even though Bobert did full combo his set, like there was definitely enough of a margin that like the MA could cover that gap.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, Roger does have really strong MA, at least on singles, and I'm sure a good amount of it does translate to doubles, but with all the added movements, all the added complexity, we'll see, you know, how well.
Okay, now he's looking in the 14 folder.
Oh no, he's going to 15.
You have to tell him that Adularia is a 13. You have to tell him that Adularia is a 13.
I told him.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to take a gander and say that he has not played this chart on doubles.
Which is confusing because it's been around a long time and he's been playing a long time. So
it's
yeah,
possible he just doesn't play doubles very often.
It's true, it's true.
I know predominantly I see him in singles events. Maybe he just entered to, you know, support the event, maybe just try something new.
Yeah, it's hard to say because double events are so much rarer. You don't always know who's really into it.
Yeah.
But let's see, we might be able to tell pretty fast.
Optional play this on 2.5, which is, you know, pretty standard, I think, for doubles.
Yeah, 450, that kind of intermediate speed. Seeing a mix, I think, of some double stacks and some ordinary pad transition crossovers.
Yep. I think he's really trying to rely on the MA, and even before going some
pretty well so far.
Yeah, he hasn't picked up that many perfects. He did pick up a good early, and a couple perfects right there, but you know, his MA is super strong, and it's gonna see if that's gonna be enough to get the win over Bobert.
Yeah, my impression of the MA so far is that he could easily be on track to pull ahead.
Absolutely. I'm sure he's super familiar with the song. You know, having it played on singles, and because this song doesn't really do too much else, like it's pretty straightforward, no gimmicks, except for the one at the very end. But
yeah, compared to what I remember of singles, the chart is more just 8th note patterns, and less of those odd 16th triplets.
Yeah, but it does have these gals, which might be a little bit harder time, but you know, overall, I think Roger's, you know, holding it together, having no issues, just actually no reading comprehension issues, just able to hit everything. Still holding on to the full combo.
Yeah, after being uncertain at the beginning, it feels like he is handling this very well, although I have trouble answering the question of how familiar he was with the chart.
Yeah.
Could just be mostly sight reading and timing very well.
At least from what I can tell.
Is that going to be 1143? Wasn't the score to beat 1142? I have to check the iPad again.
We'll get some confirmation on that. That's probably very close. That is about really close to what Bobert got. I believe he got, I know he got 5 greats. So it's going to be a very close call. I actually think Roger might have taken that.
I think he did. He took it by 1 EX.
Wow.
So, yeah, so far 1143, 1142, and he has the first song. That's going to be really interesting to see if he can edge out Bobert on some of the others.
So very funny that
all trouble and going to the letter folder.
Yeah, exactly. This time he chose to go by title instead of by difficulty because he doesn't know if, you know, if the difficult, or sorry, if the the difficulty of the chart is the same across singles and doubles.
I mean, so far we've seen the player get the folder wrong by DDR version and by
Sure.
difficulty, so, you know, those doubles charts, no one knows where they are.
Yeah.
So like we talked about before when bobert played it, this is essentially the same rhythms as the single chart.
Yep.
Which, like we said, gets more and more common as you move up in difficulty to levels like 16.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially on newer charts as well.
Very clean handling of the opening slowdown run in terms of timing and crossovers.
Yeah, having no issues like even doing these complex doubles patterns, which you don't see any of in singles because there's no pad transitions.
Very strong start so far.
Yeah, holding on to a strong, perfect PFC. Oh, just get a
One good during the stream,
yeah.
but otherwise still good timing.
Yep.
Now we have the long break before the whole continuous second half of the song.
We'll see how well he does on the actual syncopated section of the 16th. It does have a couple crossovers during that as well. They're not anything too complex, but yeah, here we go.
The density and slightly lower read speed that almost everyone uses for double also makes this a little harder to read broken patterns like this.
Definitely picking up a couple of greats there, but you know, it's still strong, holding on to the full combo.
Yeah, having trouble telling who might win. The score to beat here is going to be 1381.
Yeah. I do think he got a couple more greats than bobert did in his run. So it's gonna be very close.
Yeah, I think this is gonna wind up a few EX short.
1347.
Yeah, it was a strong start. It was very strong timing at the beginning, and yeah, when the broken 16th pattern started, slightly more rushing and difficulty keeping perfectly good MA.
Yeah, it looks like Roger was trying to like make sure he was hitting all the notes, because even getting misses is pretty steep. Getting a 3 EX hit for a miss is hard. So even hitting the notes is very good, but you still gotta make sure your timing is still locked in, making sure you're not drifting too hard to make sure you hold on to any lead that you have.
It's such a common pattern for basically all players that when something starts getting a little more difficult, there's this tendency to rush.
Yeah,
when you can't focus on timing.
Absolutely. This is going to be very interesting. Like we mentioned, like I'm sure Roger's reasonably familiar with the singles chart, but applying that knowledge to the doubles, you know, may or may not translate very well. You got the pads. We got the pattern changes. Like, does he know that like the arrow after the freeze is an up arrow?
Yeah.
Like,
which we commented on when bobert knew it and did it perfectly smoothly.
Bobert definitely had the chart knowledge on this. We'll see if Roger can do the same. Does start off with, you know, a good and a great right off the bat, but
yeah, loses
a lot of
couple
songs,
points finding the timing in the opening slowdown.
Yeah.
Ooh, and not remembering exactly how the speed up works.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, even if he knew this on singles, it's probably not a chart that he plays very often. So it's one of those things where you know, you might just forget, you know, the little details. I mean, that being said, he's still, you know, doing pretty well in the chart. You know, picked a couple misses early on, but
yeah, overall in the past and this play so far, been very strong so far for someone where we can't tell how much he's played these charts before based on his account.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit of trouble doing some of those fast crossover triplets.
You know, all things considered, he is pretty fluid with his movements, which means he does have some doubles experience. But is it going to be enough to like overtake Bobert's score? I'm unsure, because Bobert had a really strong. I believe he got a 12 great full combo. So it's gonna be that's already a really hard score to beat.
Yeah, just getting a little disrupted by some of those last stops as well.
Yeah. Ends with a 1-1-1-1-1-7-6.
Quite see Bobert's score, so I'll check in a second.
Yeah, I believe Bobert's score was better. I know he had at least double-digit perfects and low double-digit greats. So even just comparing those two numbers at a glance, we would probably assume that Bobert had the stronger showing.
That's how it looked from what I remember too. And yeah, hello Telepron. If you're not used to twisting and crossing, you learn. Yeah, and you know, a lot of the players here definitely are used to it, but still 16s are very hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Meanwhile, back to songs here. Like everyone else, Tiku playing Adularia first. Oh, and we're going to have producer Tyler coming back on the audio while we don't have another caster for the moment.
Hey everyone. Yeah, we're waiting on our second caster here, but they should be back here shortly. In the meantime, we do have Adularia coming up, so let's get to it.
So this is a song where our score to beat so far is 1143 from Roger. All of the players in this pool have been using it as effectively a sort of warm-up before having to play the 216s. Very unsurprisingly. We have a higher read speed here, back up to the 540. Although we have seen one player read it at 585. A lot more variance in people's favorite read speed on double. Very clean start. Most of this chart is just some broken 8th note patterns at 180 BPM. There are going to be a few of the kinds of patterns that characterize the single chart later. 16th note triplets and quintuplets, often surrounded by rests and freezes, and the occasional 5-note drill, and a few gallops at one point. This is looking like, I believe, going the strongest play we've seen of it so far if he keeps this up. No trouble at all with the 180 BPM 16ths after a rest. One great on a little pad transition, but still holding to what I said about being a top scorer. One perfect in the trio of gallops. Essentially just no problem timing at all. No perfects in a 5-note drill.
Yeah, so far, definitely really good timing. Just a handful of greats here and there, but other than that, it's been streaming a lot of marvelous hits.
Into the home stretch now, and yeah, I mean, I only even caught the one great. There may have been a few others. Long runs of almost perfect MA like that one right there, ending the song. And that's going to put him about 20 EX ahead of Roger and Bobert, and is currently going to be taking the first rank on this song.
116. Yeah, when I said a few grades, I guess I meant one.
Someone comfortable reading double. Yeah, playing at a single light read speed is a pretty good sign of someone who's gotten very comfortable reading. And here's on that note, 162 at 3.25 is going to be what? About 567. So still up in those high 500 ranges.
Here we go. In the past, as we saw in the in the past, yeah, a lot of 16th note drills in here, just bursts of 16th. So pretty tiring. I mean, obviously it's 16, but let's see how Tiku's able to do on this one.
Yeah, so like we've commented with the other players, the first challenge is this crossover run at half speed, no problem visually timing at all. Little great as he settles back into his timing again after the speed up, but guessing this is not going to give him much trouble. The first half of the song, mostly 8th notes with the occasional little syncopated pattern with 2 gallops. It's really the back half of the song where all of the energy is. And we saw Roger, for example, have very strong MA through the first half and drop some points on the second half. and we'll have to see how Tiku's play goes here.
Yeah,
Okay, now we're into the second half that we talked about, with pretty much constant broken 16th patterns for the entire rest of the song, other than a short segment at the end. He is doing the pad transitions fine, doing the crossovers within the 16th patterns fine, and keeping himself on timing. We see long runs of Marvelouses through a lot of these 4 and 6 note 16th runs. This, I have to think, is going to be the highest score we've seen on this song today. I'll confirm that in a second. Yeah, it is. And he wins that by a good 30 EX or so over our previous score to beat. So if he can do similarly on Tokyo 2 Expert, he'll be in first place in this pool. Scroll past Megalovania, and I really do want to see Megalovania sometime in this event. I don't think this is going to be a 280 times 3, but it looks like we have some phone math going on. Alright, he picks 2, 560, which is about the same speed he was just playing at. The machine score we currently see on this song, Tokyo 2 Expert, set by bobert a few minutes ago at 987. Okay, slowing it down a little more than that after thinking a bit. That's gonna pull it all the way down to about 490, which is a little slower than he read in the past. Possibly making it easier to handle stops or gimmicks, or just because the song is all red and blue, he might like that better. Regardless of speed, no problem visually timing the beginning, picks up a little bit of perfects and greats in the odd rhythm before the speed up. Defense scroll speed, yeah, there can be a little bit of uncertainty, especially if there's anything unusual about the context you're playing in, tournament, cabinet type, whatever, where going fast feels potentially more dangerous than going slow. Looks like he knew the step after the rocket freeze. And keeping a combo through all of the stops so far, definitely worth pointing out. No problem at all on those quick crossovers. Ooh, until one right there. But coming right back with good MA on the 5-note runs. Let me see if I can see the score to beat on this one. It looks like 1311 from bobert. Ah, hello.
All right, there we go.
Hello, new stream partner.
All right, we got some good doubles action going on. tokyoEVOLVED Type 2.
Yeah, so this is the second pool of doubles.
Okay.
And we have the players playing Adularia Expert 13, In the Past Expert 16, and Tokyo 2 Expert 16.
Ooh, yeah.
And I know I just said out loud the score was 1311, and he beats it with 1321. So Tiku now in first place on all 3 songs.
Wow. Okay.
After seeing 3 players in this pool.
We should have one person left, I'm assuming, in the pool.
Yeah, it's Yes Buddy. I will try to confirm that in a second. We've tossed around, yeah buddy, tossed around a whole bunch of players with this little alternation that happened between pools 1 and 2 so far today.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the top player is going to move it out of the pool into the top 12, as well as 4 wildcard players.
There we go. Good to see us both.
Doing a little camera adjustment. Hello. Okay, yeah buddy, not someone I know.
Yep. Me neither, not sure exactly where they're from, but
They're handling this chart very well. Yeah, overall, those were, I mean, of course, 3 of the strongest plays we've seen today. Pool 2 had 16s, which Pool 1 didn't, and those are our first place runs on it, so I don't totally know what to expect here. Chat saying hi to Dave.
What's up, Julian?
Dave coming and joining on commentary. Whether evil or good, we will find out.
Alright, so I'm not too familiar with the doubles chart on here. The singles chart's very straightforward. I imagine the doubles chart being a 13, it's probably going to be around the same way.
Yeah, they've basically been using it as a warm-up before 2 16s all throughout this pool.
Yep.
It is more 8th note patterns at 180 than even the single chart. So it's mostly how good are they keeping up MA while doing these broken 8th note patterns with pad transitions, and then a few Galopian triplet and 5 note drill patterns later. And answering that question, MA so far looking very good.
Yep.
The score to beat on this from Tiku, hard to see right now. I believe it was in the 1160s. Getting a little slow on some jacks during that freeze to lose the yellow combo, but overall still has just looked visually like good MA.
Yep.
And we can see on a pacemaker, it might be a very good run for him. Starting to pick up a few more when the faster patterns like the drill start. So I feel like this could still go either way. Falling right back into the good MA once the has a little bit of a break to focus on timing. But he is not going to beat Tiku's score.
All right. So I'm assuming the format is they rank players like 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on each song, and the person with the most amount of points at the end advances with pools.
Yeah, it's individual song ranks with some points for each one.
Yeah, I was in Pump yesterday, and that's exactly how they did their pools too. So
the top player from each pool, I think there are 8 of them, goes on to a top 12 round.
Yep.
And then there are going to be some wildcard players also. The pretty strong negative visual adjust on gold cab that we're seeing very commonly.
Very common. If you're used to white cab timing, then usually you're going to have somewhere between a negative 1.6 to about -2.
It also depends on whether you slow down your read speed between white and gold cab, which some people do.
Yeah, most people are going to use a slower speed mod on gold cabs, and especially on doubles. You're using a slower speed mod on doubles than you would on singles, just because you can't react to 8 arrows the way you can with 4.
Yeah, we've been seeing a huge variance in speed mods so far today. DJGRUNDL or Yea Buddy here, no trouble at all with the opening speed up in Tokyo 2 or the first few stops. Completely ready for that stop there, not thrown off the timing.
Doing very good so far. I guess the first grade on that boost speed up.
Yeah, it looked like he knew it was an up arrow, but that kind of thing can still throw off your timing.
Yep. So with these tokyoEVOLVEDs for all 3 types, the first half of the song is pretty much identical. In the second half, there's going to be, that's kind of where they change a little bit. The second one has a decent amount of stops, kind of there towards the end.
Yeah, we're just getting to the part soon where they start to diverge. And, you know, we've seen a lot today of people able to keep up pretty good MA. We've had a Tokyo in both pools so far. And a lot of what comes up is who winds up dropping more points due to getting thrown a little bit by gimmicks and picking up breaks and misses.
Yep. So 13:22.
We'll try to... Ooh, that is first place on that song.
Yeah, I was gonna say very close to Tiku's money score, but I don't know how that does EX.
1321 from him, I'm almost certain. So that could be first place on that song, which that could make it very interesting if he does well on In the Past. I'll try to confirm that in a second. Tiku's score on In the Past, 14-13 is going to be the score to beat here. I'll try to remember that this time. I say that every song.
Yeah. What we're trying to see if we can beat.
Yeah, long stretch single pad crossovers. Yeah, something we're seeing is players will more commonly double step the sort of things that are ordinary DDR single crossover runs, where they might habitually double step eighth notes, even if they make themselves do the correct pad transitions at other times. Another song that starts with a slowdown, another instance of having no trouble at all finding the timing. So like a few other players before, making easy work of the first half of In the Past, and then the big question will be, once the faster broken 16th rhythms start with a lot of crossovers in them, can he keep the timing up while doing them? Pretty much right after this break.
Yep. So one great so far.
Pool placement by total EX or song rank? It's by song rank. There's a number of points for each rank you get on the individual song, and those are totaled up.
Yeah, total EX would be a little wacky if someone picks like a really outlier song.
Yeah, song rank takes... It looks like he's dropping more points.
Yeah, I think he just got tired.
This section here. It's just still hard to come up and play 2/16s.
Especially on doubles, too. Doubles is a lot more stamina intensive than singles.
So he did get a first place song, but then Tiku had 2 first place songs, and without getting ahead of myself too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd assume Tiku probably wins the pool on that.